assault on Fort Eben-Emael was an episode of World War II in which a group of German airborne troops, 85 fighters, led by Lieutenant Rudolf Witzig, initially by Sergeant Wengel, stormed the well-fortified strategic Belgian Fort Eben-Emael, 20 kilometers north of Liège, with a garrison of 1,200 men within a day on May 10, 1940. This was the first instance in the world of a massive airborne assault using a large number of gliders that landed directly in the vicinity of the fortress itself. During the French campaign in May 1940, the 6th German Army, General Colonel Walter von Reichenau, which was part of Army Group B, faced a challenging task. The army had to cross the Meuse River, overcome the Belgian defensive lines towards Terelmont, and isolate the fortified area around the city of Liège. To quickly accomplish this mission, it was necessary to capture the bridges over the Albert Canal, which in turn required neutralizing the fort of Eben-Emael, which was one of the most important sections of the Belgian defense. This fortress, measuring 800 by 900 meters and built with the latest technology of the time, was considered impregnable. The garrison of the fort comprised more than 1,200 men, equipped with numerous artillery and machine guns. The fort's artillery consisted of 12 60mm anti-tank guns, 16 75mm field guns, including 4 in towers, and 2 120mm howitzers. The latter were mounted on a platform with a 360-degree firing range, intended for indirect fire, and were protected by thick armored caps capable of withstanding hits from 210mm shells. By its purpose, Fort Eben-Emael was primarily a powerful artillery stronghold capable of controlling the surrounding area within a radius of up to 15 to 17 kilometers. The majority of the garrison consisted of artillerymen, and even formally the fort was organizationally divided into batteries. The entire garrison was engaged in servicing the artillery, observation, or delivering ammunition. The main task of the fort was the artillery blockade of crossings, including those located in the territory of the Netherlands. Thus, the main idea of the project was to create a virtually invulnerable and sufficiently long-range artillery grouping. However, there was a vulnerable point in the defense of the gigantic fortification: weak anti-aircraft defense. The fort's fire system took into account the possibility of defending against a landing attack at the top of the structure, for which the use of canister shots for the 75mm guns was planned. However, the defenders of the fortifications were, for various reasons, unprepared to repel a sudden assault. The Germans took full advantage of all this during the storming of the fort. The Germans had been preparing for the assault for about a year, secretly practicing the landing on the former fortifications of the Czech defensive line and on a specially constructed full-scale model of the fort. The armament of the German paratroopers consisted of light small arms, flamethrowers, hand grenades, and then still ultra-secret portable charges that used the cumulative effect. In preparation for the operation, an exact 1-to-1 scale model of the fort was built at the Hildesheim camp near Dessau. Paratroopers, 438 people, assigned to carry out the mission had been conducting training since the beginning of winter 1939. The air raid carried out early in the morning on May 10, around 5:25 a.m., half an hour before sunrise, came as a complete surprise to the Belgians. 9 DFS 230 assault gliders of the Granite Assault Group landed directly on the fort's territory, and the paratroopers quickly disembarked and immediately began destroying all defensive structures at the top of the fort. 7 gliders landed quite accurately near their intended targets, but 2 ended up in the northern part of the fortress and were unable to participate in the assault right away. The Germans neutralized the enemy soldiers who were outside the casemates, while the others were blocked inside. The paratroopers did not go into the underground tunnels, but the garrison was also unable to dislodge the Germans from the top of the fort. After landing, the German paratroopers began to methodically destroy the bunkers, throwing explosive charges into their embrasures and ventilation shafts, which became the main weapon of the attack. The Granite Group had about 2 tons of sapper ammunition at their disposal. If necessary, to destroy armored towers and concrete bunkers, the paratroopers used 2 sequential explosions. First, a light charge created a hole, into which a heavier charge was then thrown, the explosion of which destroyed the structure from the inside. Alongside explosives, the German paratroopers also employed portable flamethrowers during the assault. During the first 15 minutes of the attack, 6 out of 7 targets of the assault group Granite were knocked out, and within the first hour, the fort lost up to 70% of its firepower. Already at 5:40, Group Commander Lieutenant Witzig reported to the commander of the assault unit, Captain Walter Koch, who was simultaneously commanding operations to seize 3 other bridges that German tanks were supposed to cross: the Veldwesel Bridge Assault Group Steel, the bridge at Renhoven Assault Group Concrete, the Caen Bridge Assault Group Iron. We have successfully reached the target.
Everything is proceeding according to plan.
Only part of the fortifications held out until 11 o'clock in the morning the next day, when the fort completely surrendered. The losses of the garrison amounted to 69 killed and 40 wounded. About 1,000 Belgians were captured. The Granite Group lost 6 killed and between 15 and 20 wounded out of 85 landing troops. After the sensational success of the German landing, rumors spread around the world about Germany having a secret weapon of incredible power and effectiveness.
Nazi propaganda used this rumor in the information war until the end of the Third Reich.
The landing at Fort Eben-Emael was only part of the operation to neutralize the Belgian defenses and capture important bridges across the canal. Overall, this well-coordinated operation was a resounding success. The artillery of Fort Eben-Emael was neutralized and the paratroopers captured 2 out of 3 bridges intact. Their capture, along with the neutralization of the artillery at Eben-Emael, allowed the German infantry and armored units of the 18th Army to break through the Belgian defenses and enter the heart of Belgium.